All right, we're here at the 2026 Success Summit here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've got Kendra Cooke in the room, folks, okay? Kendra Cooke. We're going to have an amazing conversation. And just remember, we are live at the conference right now, and some amazing things are happening. So welcome to the podcast, Kendra.
Thank you so much. This is fun. I'm
excited
to be here.
Let's do it. All right, so you spoke today. Absolutely amazing, by the way. What are a couple nuggets that you can share with the audience listening to this who may not have been able to come or make it to Nashville today?
Well, we talked about CEO mindset. And CEO mindset, the biggest takeaway is there's 4 pillars in every business. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, right? So we have operations, sales and marketing, technology, and finances. And the number one reason businesses fail is for finances, right? Lack of cash flow. So I just tell everybody, own the finances. You have to know where you are. So we can be the best coffee maker, the best real estate agent, but if we're not looking at the money, the business won't sustain any market. So the goal is to track every dime coming in and every dime coming out. Obviously, that is the most important, but really sales and marketing. And I think that most of us shy away from that because that's where the rejection happens, right? We don't love to hear no. We don't like the word no when we're a baby, and we don't like it when we're an adult. So if you can figure out how to stay in sales and marketing 70, 80% of the day, 60 at the bare minimum, you'll have a thriving career. But most of us don't because we don't like that rejection there.
I was going to say that 60 to 70% is so important because we have to be doing revenue producing activities. We have to be engaging not only for the sale that may come in today or tomorrow, but to future proof our business, especially when it comes back to those finances and revenue. Talk to me a little bit about how you navigate your finances in your business.
So I do a Financial Friday meeting. So every Friday I pull out my debit card, go online, my app, make sure that I've got enough money to cover all my fun things that I love to do. I also itemize every single credit card bill. So I think it's really important, especially in your heyday. If you're making great money, you just pay the credit card off. You don't look at where your money's going. And step 1 to financial literacy is awareness. You got to know where your money's going. So what's coming in and what's going out. So I hold myself accountable through a Financial Friday meeting, and I do a P&L for my business, and I do a personal budget for our home. So I know what we're trying to stay within. And when we're doing great, we can save and we can vacation. And when we can't, then, the rubber meets the road. You got to really see where your money's going. And right now, thank goodness gas is coming down, but gas and groceries over the last year, I'm like, there's only 2 of us in this house. How do we eat this much food? But awareness. I think it's game changer for people. And usually we get ourselves in trouble when we're making a lot of money because we keep spending more and more and more. And then we also get ourselves in trouble when we're not making money. We keep spending like we were when we were making money. So just awareness is the key.
How did you learn how important this is? Did anything happen in your business? Did you have a season or a scenario where you didn't know where your money was going and you kind of had to navigate this world and now you're sharing it with everybody else?
Oh, you want to get raw and real, do you? Yes.
My name's Jim Morris and I am all about raw and real. So let's go
there. So for me, yes, I was working about 80 hours a week, sneaking out of bed at night, leaving my family, and I got busted. And I really thought I had a time management issue. And so my husband gave me that ugly ultimatum, fix it or I'm out. And by the grace of God, found a coaching company. And I went to them saying, I need help with my time management. There's just not enough hours in the day. I'm such a hard worker. And as they dug into my business, they realized that I didn't have a time management issue. I had a money issue. And so I was outrunning the collapse of the empire, if you will. So I was basically one bad month away from bankruptcy. And so it was write all your expenses down. Let's look at where all your business is coming from. And what I realized is I was chasing business, spending a lot of money on billboards and moving trucks and all kinds of things. And there was zero return on that. All my business was coming from referrals. I had a great client experience. So people were like, you should work with my realtor. And I didn't even realize that's where the leads were coming from. So I had 2, big aha moments. One bad month away from bankruptcy, but also you don't have to spend money a lot of times if you take great care of the client and you track it. And so I think as a real estate agent for me for a long time, I was just in a bad hamster wheel run and didn't know how to get off. But I think that if people, again, back to the word awareness is key. If you know where your leads are coming from and the conversion, you could probably save money there. And if you're on the hamster wheel and you aren't tracking your money, start there, because you may have way bigger problems than you think you have.
Thank you. First and foremost, thank you so much for sharing that, especially in that level of depth and, those granular details. It actually reminded me of a scenario where I stopped tracking, right? So in my career where, things were stagnant and I was tracking, things started to tick up. I'm tracking. Things started to explode up and I stopped tracking. And then what happened?
Backwards.
Whoop. Yep. There goes the plummet.
Yes.
Do you see that when you're coaching and working with people, that they often are just making a ton of money and then all of a sudden it's that poop, fall right off the cliff?
Yes, because what goes up will come down. So the markets there.
Ooh, what goes up will come down. I like that.
The markets go up and the markets come down, right? And so having been in real estate in the early 2000s, bad market, then 8, 9, and 10 collapse here in Middle Tennessee. I was in the thick of that. And then the last couple of years, our realtors have had their teeth kicked in between rates going up and, the NAR settlements and the changing the way we did business for a lot of people. And so, yes, I think that we say we're too busy to track our money. We're too busy to track our leads. We're too busy when your number one job is sales and marketing and your number 2 department should be finances. Those should be the 2 things that never leave. Outsource your technology, outsource your operations. We have so much help now, whether it's a virtual assistant or apps that can help you chat, whatever. Outsource the things that aren't as important and keep the 2 that are most important closest to you, and be aware of that all the time.
Wow. That hits home for me, for sure. Thinking back, you got me thinking back of that period of time where I was like, man, what am I doing? It's so important. Talk to me a little bit about your journey as a speaker. I'm seeing you everywhere. You're local, you're national. Tell me a little bit about why you're speaking, why you're pouring into people, why you're impacting so many humans at such a high level.
Because somebody gave it to me. That's our job, is to pay it forward. And so had I not joined the coaching company that I found by the grace of God, absolutely changed my life. And I was able to, my goal was to retire at 50. I sold my business here in 2017. So I went out a little bit before I was 50 and went into the coaching realm full time, traveling and speaking, and just love watching people explode and change lives. And it's fun. I was sitting in the green room visiting with some young ladies earlier, and listen, that's our job. If you get to a point where you're happy, and I don't say arrived because I don't think I'll ever have arrived, but where I'm happy and I'm willing to help other people get where they want to go, that's money in the bank. It comes back to me tenfold. And I think there's enough people in the world standing on a stage saying, do this, but they really never done that. And I'm like, listen, any mistake you've made in sales, hiring, leadership, money, I'm your girl. I think I made all the mistakes for all of us. And it's not that I have all the answers, but I'm just really willing to be authentic with these ladies and gentlemen and say, hey, I've been there. This is how I got out. I'm happy to help, hold you accountable, give you a checklist, and it just continues to come back. So I love traveling. That's a blessing for me to just travel and share my story. It's really fun. Yeah.
I love the fact that you said you've kind of gone through it. You might not have all the answers, but you're willing to share. I think that's so important, especially when it comes to speakers in today's day and age, because I've also been in those green rooms. I've also had some of those conversations, and you have these in-depth, detailed conversations, and then you go see someone get on stage, and it's like they're trying to solve a problem that they never solved themselves, right? And that's totally, I get that. I understand it. I understand that event planners want certain things, and we all got to make money, and we want to take these gigs and whatnot. But it's so important to just be so authentic to the point where maybe you aren't the expert, but you're sharing what might have worked or how you might have navigated through some of these things. And then also say, I might not have all the right answers.
Right.
One of the best things that I've seen speakers do, and some of the things that I try to continue to do, is share my experience, but then also connect them with someone else who is further along, who is an expert in that specific field or have navigated some of those situations. I believe it's just really important to be that and to show up in that way for the greater good of the person that you're conversing with.
Yeah, your
right?
community matters, right? The people you surround yourself with. And I do have to turn down speaking events because people say, can you speak on this? I'm like, no, never did that. You're not going to hear me speak about AI, by the way, or technology. That's not my bag. But if I don't have the answers, I will help you get it. But I just think that, we have to build a community, a tribe, if you will, to where we align with these people, our thoughts and our actions and our willingness to give. And man, the community, it changes everything. The room you get in, like the room we're in here for the next couple days, it's powerful because everybody in there is willing to share and be vulnerable. I've seen some tears. It's usually me, and it wasn't today. Shocking. But I think when we get raw and real and willing to share, your community changes and it grows and the connection gets deeper. And listen, I know I've got 100 people on speed dial that I could call and say, hey, I'm in trouble. And they would be there because I was there for them.
Totally. How do you make someone feel heard and seen? I believe that you tell the truth, right? And that truth can hurt coming out sometimes.
Yep.
You might not be ready for it. It may cause you to tear up and cry.
Sure.
Right? One of my good friends, Daryl Stinson, he's always telling me never get on stage and tell a story that you're not over and you can't navigate the whole story because the person listening to it deserves the best version of that story, not so much you using it as a trauma dump and still trying to figure it out. And it just reminded me as you were saying that. And then also I was thinking about how we kicked off the conference today where I asked everybody, hey, you may be at 10 or 20% vulnerability, but when we switch and you're talking to someone you don't know and you're sharing, can we double that, right? I know that I'm at like 98, 90% vulnerability, right? I'll pour it all out. I'll share whatever, but I know that some people struggle with that. So just asking someone to go just a little bit more with their vulnerability, just a tad bit further can really enhance those relationships. And not only do you feel heard and seen when someone's sitting across from you and they lean in and, their shoulders are open and they're squared up and their body's directly engaging with you, but also, how it makes them feel.
Right.
Right. And that transfer of energy, that transfer of truth, for me, that's something that's extremely important.
Yeah. And I think, when we talk about vulnerability, I think that women struggle with this more than men. And that's why I do a lot of women's empowerment events and retreats is because I think you guys are like, hey, I screwed up. It's all good. And we fist bump. And then as women, we come to a table and we try to get vulnerable and real. And we're fearful of being judged or not being worthy of being heard or, I'm going to be discounted because I'm flawed, and I was sharing with a young lady earlier that I just did a huge talk at First Presbyterian Church in Tampa, over 300 women in the room. And I stood on the stage and said, hey, I came from a broken home. I moved 21 times before I was 18. I didn't go to college.
Oh, you and me have something alike.
Yeah.
I was at 18 before 18.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, and I didn't go to college. I'm not a college graduate. And I had a broken marriage. I was married to an addict. And I guess you're wondering why I'm on the stage. What gives me credibility to stand here today? And the truth is I'm still standing. That's why I have the credibility. And I think when women can take off their mask and take off their makeup and realize that we're not judging each other, we just have different flaws. It is so beautiful, beautiful. And so that's the whole purpose of me doing retreats is I tell my girls, bring leggings and shorts because you ain't putting on makeup. We are getting raw and real and tears and anger and all the things, but we all leave there changed. And I think there's a lot to be said about getting vulnerable, being real and raw of how much you can grow in that space when you're willing to do it.
I love the fact that you brought up how you shared your previous experiences. When I did my TED Talk last year on, following your dream, human connection is the catalyst to following your dreams, I broke down what human connection meant to me. And the first thing that I said was to build deep human connection with someone, the easiest way to do that is to bring up experiences in your life. Because if those experiences are shared amongst the person that you're conversing and talking with, then that allows you to immediately go into one lane where you both feel heard and seen, and everybody's winning in that conversation.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you brought up, all those things in your past, because you and I know that there was many women in that crowd of 300 that have gone through something quite similar.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And we all need that connection, whatever it is. And once we all, whether man or woman, realize that we're not the only flawed person here, and we're not the only one that's come from a broken home or whatever. We're willing to open up and share more of ourselves and to learn and to grow. And so for me, for a long time, it was fear of acceptance. Like, I'm not good enough. You know, my dad come from a broken home, got a divorce. I'm not going to be accepted. And I don't know, there was just probably, and I know what it was, but you know, God gives us a lot of grace as we get older, and we're like, you know what? Here I am. This is me, flaws and all, gray hair, wrinkles, whatever it is. I'm accepted because He accepted me first. And I think that's also a very beautiful thing when we talk about human connection. We don't have to be accepted by everybody. Not everybody's going to like me. Right?
They shouldn't.
Right?
You're a unique human being who should attract only those that love transfer, that energy transfer can align with.
Yeah, I say that's why there's vanilla and chocolate and strawberry ice cream, because I'm not for everybody. And that's okay. And we need to learn to accept that is okay.
It's so funny you bring up the ice cream example, because me and my wife were just talking the other day, and our 3-year-old Ellie, she loves strawberry ice cream. Mm-hmm. And me and my wife were like totally chocolate fiends, right? We're like, I love chocolate. Like, why get anything else? And it was just another moment in my life where I was like, you know what? I love the fact that Ellie doesn't want chocolate ice cream. Ellie wants strawberry. Because to me, she's just being her. Mm-hmm. And I hope that she stays in those moments and lives her life the same way as she gets to 5, 7, 15, 27, 35, 40, 50, and never forgets the fact that do what you love, do what you like, do what makes you happy, what brings joy to your heart, to your soul. Because at the end of the day, guess who we're living with most of the time, if not all the time? Ourselves.
Yep.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you so much for jumping on today. I know this was just quick and we didn't have anything planned and whatnot, but what you shared is just so absolutely amazing. And I'm just so glad to have the opportunity to talk with you and to meet you. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to what you continue to bring to everybody and the positive impact in this world.
Well, thank you for your time, and you too. And it's not the last time. I'll come back when I'm here, since I have a house not too far. So thanks again.